real basic. There's not too much to call hold other than music on hold, which we take a look at in depth tomorrow with media. But with call hold, if Eloise Hawking, 2001, places a call on hold, she should be reminded of that every 10 seconds. Okay, so that's definitely a little bit of a twist. Again, this has nothing to do with Eloise Hawking. We didn't say only if Eloise places a call on hold. So we're just choosing a phone to test with, essentially. We're going back to service parameters. The reason I wanted to essentially add these tasks was because there are a lot of service parameters that deal with various nerd knobs or tweaks that we can do to all of these pretty standard, pretty commonly used to features like call forward and call hold and things like that. So hold type. This parameter determines whether the headset lamp on a legacy phone, such as a 12SP and a 30 VIP. Does anyone remember the 30 VIP phones? Anyone been working on CCM that long? I remember them. But that's obviously not what we want. Okay, so let's take a look. We wanted something that reminded us about the hold every 10 seconds. What does that sound like? Here we've got a maximum hold duration. Okay, so that's the longest that anyone can be on hold. We also have maximum call duration. Okay, these are in minutes. Okay, but that's not what we're looking for. Hold. Here we go. Cluster-wide feature parameters just for hold reversion. What's hold reversion? Well, reversion is when we bring something back. So this parameter specifies the number of seconds that a call remains on hold before it reverts back to the original phone that placed it on hold. When the value in this specified parameter expires, a hold reversion notification, audio and or visual, occurs on the holding party's phone until the call is answered, or the maximum hold duration expires. Okay, so by default it's set to 0, which basically says hold reversion never occurs. Call waiting for hold is what Christopher says it sounds like a hold tone. Similar, yeah. In this case, we are going to notify them with a tone, but we first basically have to enable some sort of reversion. So the call will basically not go off hold. It's not like we will place the call on hold and all of a sudden it will be off hold and we'll be shocked that all of a sudden we're connected to the connected to the party that we had placed on hold again. But it will ring back to us, almost as if like the system's saying, hey, take me off hold. So we were told to be reminded of it every 10 seconds. All right. Well, first of all, we have to have a hold reversion. Now, was there a minimum for that? Awesome. Timed out there. Hopefully we're not timed out everywhere. And it looks like we are. This page, I took too long and we're going to be timed out here as well. Maybe not. Okay, so the minimum is 0, maximum is 1200, so let's just make this 10. And then the notification interval. So the reversion duration is what is the amount of time the call's on hold before it rings back to me. Then, how often, during how many units of interval should I re-ring or re-notify? So we want this to be 10 as well. But this is the first notification. This is subsequent notifications. We've also got something here we're not going to do anything with in this task, but we can just read about it. This parameter determines whether call manager ignores call forward all destinations when it's the same as the calling party number. So in other words, for instance, phone A has call forward all set to phone B. If this parameter is enabled, not by default, then phone B has the ability to transfer a call to phone A, John's phone, without having that same call sent back to phone B due to John's call forward all setting. It doesn't really make a lot of sense why it's here in hold reversion. But it is, and it really looks like it has a lot more to do with call forward. So I would think that it should be up here. But anyway, let's go ahead and save that if we're not timed out, which we might be. All right, it looks like it saved successfully. So now we'll try this call again. We'll go from to call Eloise Hawking, which was what, DN? 2001. One of the ones we have up? I do not believe so. Really, we could do it on any phone, of course, because this is a cluster-wide parameter. But just to be thorough, we'll bring up Eloise's phone. Okay, so we are going to call from Eloise. Refresh. Give it 2 seconds. Go. New call to 1001. Okay, we'll go mute. Answer the call, go mute. And now Eloise is going to hold Jack. Turn this down and we'll turn her phone up. So she's got someone on hold, and now all of a sudden, 10 seconds later, that phone call is actually ringing back and we see hold reversion. Okay? So 10 seconds later, although I was talking and it went by fairly quickly, we're seeing that call come back. Now listen, we're not hearing constant ring, are we? See it constantly here. This is at 44. Let's wait. It should be roughly 54, 55. There we go. Roughly 54. So roughly 10 seconds later, or exactly 10 seconds, roughly just because of this display. That's how often we hear the audible hold reversion notification. So every 10 seconds, we're being notified. If I resume, then I can go ahead and end that call. So again, the initial reversion happened after 10 seconds. And that was due to, down here, that was due to the initial reversion duration. And then every 10 seconds, while it was being reverted, I was hearing the notification interval, or I was hearing that ring as the notification. Now keep in mind, Jack's phone was still, 1001 was still on hold the whole time. And although I had turned the music down, he was still hearing music on hold or tone on hold or whatever he would have been hearing, depending on whether music on hold was set up properly or not.